Bright. Going live. All right, wait. Let me turn this light up. Maybe it's not bright. But it is pretty bright over there. Okay, declare the glory. I'm back again to make another video. It's been a while since I did any. Um, huh. So anyway, I wanted to look at some things that are going on here. Let's just I'll try to keep it in my life here. All right, I'm going to start with a prayer. Heavenly Father, just watch over us and keep us all safe. And we just pray for everyone out there that they come to know the truth, and we just ask for your guidance. And I just pray that this video reaches whoever it needs to. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, now I've done a bunch of videos. I haven't done any in a while or whatever, and there's a lot of good reasons for that. But nonetheless, here I am. All right, now one thing about I got saved. A lot of people don't like to talk about God. They don't like to talk about religion. They don't like to talk about technology. They don't like to talk about. Everybody has their own interest in life. And the thing is we live in a very technological age right now. Things have went, let's just say, the Model T car to today. Now you can get in a car and you can say, hey, car, start up, and your car starts up, and it works off from, a lot of them work off from voice recognition technology. And there's a lot of AI being employed, and then you have 5G that's being employed in a lot of different places in that. And there's a lot of people that are hesitant. I'm hesitant. I am really hesitant towards the 5G technology, but I don't. God is in control of everything. He always has been. And when we say God is love, that could take on a whole lot of different meanings for a lot of people, especially people that don't know what love is, that's people that are looking for love out there in the world or whatever. And I think the thing is, when I look at the Bible and I'm reading the Bible, I look at a lot of things that, I've read a lot of the Old Testament and the New Testament, and a lot of times when I need advice or I'm looking for advice, I open up the Bible and I start reading my Bible. And I have a wide area of things that I enjoy. Music's one of them. And I'll try to put this in terms of music. When we get into like John 1:1, and it says in the beginning was the Word. You go right here. Let me turn it right here. And a lot of people, like I said, and if people don't like my videos, I don't know who likes my videos. And that's up for whoever, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And depending on which religion, I know my wife was brought up in a Jehovah's Witness home, and the wording changes a little bit. The word was a God. And that's the thing, is that I think any of us can at times feel like we're gods or we're invincible. I know when I was younger, I felt like there was nothing that could stop me. That basically I was capable of anything. And I think that a lot of times we all feel that way from time to time. And but God is love. So we see that, in the beginning. And that's the thing Jesus said, if you want to know the end, go back to the beginning. And you go back to Genesis, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. That's where we live, is the earth, and I look around and I see, I see progress. I see things moving ahead, full speed. People are moving ahead, full speed. Um, God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And I think a lot of times a lot of people think of knowledge as being a form of light. It's true. There is but God is love. That's what the Bible tells us, that God is love. And what is love? It's a feeling. It's an emotion. And within love, I think that we going through the Old Testament, there's a lot of hardships. I find myself in the book of Job all the time, and it talks about sparks fly up, and then we can look out at nature and we see lightning and things like that. So we see that energy can travel in all different directions, and that's even us. We expend energy. That's all science stuff, whatever you want to look at. But love itself, when we get to the New Testament, we see Jesus, the figure of Jesus, that has disciples, and these disciples were, had a wide range of jobs. A lot of them were just laborers, and I say just laborers, but laborers are necessary in this world for things to function. If we didn't have people doing things, we would all be in trouble, and I think one of the hardest jobs that I've found that I've done a lot of jobs, is actually being a parent, because what we teach our kids, and when you look, you can see one of the um, probably most common last names is Smith, and that's because there was a point in time when uh, fathers, pretty much, they would, a man would take a wife, and they would have children, and they would teach their children whatever their trade was. I mean, Jesus was a carpenter, and we see, that his father was God, but he had Joseph that basically adopted him. He didn't know, you know, they knew the situation and that, and yet he had more brothers in that. And we see there's a lot of people in this world that they can't have children of their own, that have to adopt or whatever. And whenever you adopt a child, or even have children of your own, or as a grandparent, whatever, you try your best to love your children. And that's the thing that comes with it, is there is a certain sacrifice that comes with being a parent, whether it's adopting children, whether it's having your own children, whether it's fostering children, whatever that case is, or whatever. Um, it's hard work, you know. You a lot of times as a parent, we do for our kids, and we have to set ourselves aside. We make that sacrifice of our feelings or emotions, or whatever it is that we need to do. And I think that's the one thing, is when we see Jesus, the personage in the Bible or whatever, is that he was killed. I mean, that old life. When I look at myself or whatever, as I look back at my life, and I say, well, I didn't always do good things. I didn't always do bad things. Sometimes the answer is kind of like in the middle of that. That we sometimes think good things, and our best intentions. We put a plan in our mind or whatever, and we set it into motion by the actions that we do. So when I think of like this higher realm, this thought world that we can live in, is we can all daydream, and we all do during, at night. They can do sleep studies, and they can see the brain activity that goes on in people at night. But people that have troubled past, Had seen a lot of things or whatever. You know, maybe their dreams at night when they're sleeping aren't always the best. You know, they could go back to a time, you know, the past, present, and future. They all exist, like right now as we live here. I can take and I can uh, think of an event that happened to me as a child and have one of my grandkids walk in, and automatically that fast, my attention, my thought process will go from that to whatever it is that I need to switch it to. You know, I can think about an event that I made it, you know, in the Bible, you know, you see Jesus in there, and he says, "Get behind me, Satan." You know, one of the ways that the Jews would look at that is that we can look back at our past and we can see some of the mistakes that we made in the past, and we can say, well, I don't want to do that. You know, I want to have something better for myself, something better for my children, something better for my area that I live, something better for my country. And, you know, that's one of the things when I look at us, you know, or the U.S. where we live, you know, and I look at what's real or whatever. I know that there's a balance that has to be maintained for everything. You know, that a lot of people, I see that there is a lot of religious persecution and there's a lot of division in the different religions. And this is one of the things that's really cool. I got this from my niece or whatever, and I got to get it rebound. And it's to show you this book here is like it's an old Bible. It's a 153-year-old Bible, and I love it. You know, it's great. There's a lot of, and part of that was that the priest used to be like the teacher. A lot of times, that when you think about when Jesus was there, when Jesus was on the earth or whatever, the known language was Greek. And when you think of what the Bibles were, the word that was available at that time, they were huge volumes, you know, and you see how the Bible has went from, you know, Moses with the stone tablets and that to the time of Jesus where, you know, all the temples were set up and they would have the book of law. And then you can go to the modern times is we have our smaller Bibles, and then you can even get them on the phones. What's that?
My camera only it doesn't have a HDMI on it.
And then we move up into the future here where we are now, and we have people are so concerned with, you know, how they're going to connect to
why does it
the
only
TV,
have a charger?
to the internet of things.
I'm gonna keep looking.
To and really, when I haven't made any videos in a while because we can spend so much time connecting to computers, going through passwords, going through, you know, and then you have to live life. You know, if all our time was spent in front of a computer, just, you know, not actually doing anything, you know, we probably wouldn't eat, sleep, with whatever, because just like with anything, you know, it can become addictive. Too much of anything. People get addicted to food, to cigarettes, to drugs, and you know that's where it becomes a choice for anybody. Because even if you can go to the doctor and get whatever type of medication, you know, that you think that you might need or that you do need or whatever. But that's, yeah, you know, we make that choice whether we even take it. You know, a lot of times I go through a lot of pain, and a lot of times I don't even want to take ibuprofen for that, you know, but there's times that I do because, you know, I hurt, you know, and that's the thing in life. And there's people that not only that's the physical pain, you know, but there's people that have mental pains too. And you could go in and you can get medications for mental pains, you know, and maybe they work and maybe they don't. I don't know. A lot of times I can't tell anybody what's right or wrong for them. But I do know that what Jesus showed us, that's that cross that he was on, is these choices between what we think and what we do, what our acts, and what I call the acts is like how we act, how our children act, how our neighbors act, how the people around us act. And I can't tell people what they can or can't do. I know, but the Bible, all laws come from God. We have a law of nature that's in effect that we things should be natural, nature, nurture. And these are the things that I look at, it's like sometimes when you look at a family, there are differences between men and women, and we, so there's got to be a balance. And that's, I think, one thing that we see in a family is that there's a system of checks and balances, and the more kids you have, the more complicated, the more complex it gets. So we have all these thoughts and ideas, it's like, well, he said this, and, he called me stupid, and then you have how that makes someone else feel, everybody feels differently. And one of the things that I see, that I've seen lately, over the last couple months is that people tend to be more sensitive to things, more easily angered maybe. And a lot of times, you just kind of have to shut down your mind, and I see this as being one of the dangers that I see about the 5G. But the Bible does talk about there coming a point to where there's going to be a pure language, and this language, unfortunately, I see a lot more things, and I don't really want to get into all that. I just want to stick with what I know to be true. And I notice, like, even with everything, I can look at things in terms of frequency, how often we do things, how often we send signals, how often we think about certain things. If somebody thinks about gambling or anything, food or education or whatever. And lately I've been so torn in so many different directions that it's hard to focus on one thing. And I notice, like, with my grandkids, a lot of times, they want to play a game or something like that. But if they don't get focused on that, then it's all over. Do this, and nothing gets done. And sometimes you can actually just kind of lock up and say, it's called them. A lot of times, the heck with it. I mean, I'm done. This is it. I'm done. And I think everybody gets like that, to where their brain just gets overloaded with things. And that's stress. A lot of times these stresses create chemical changes in our body. But it's hard to try to balance all that.
No idea.
But what is love? Love is a complicated emotional thing that's a balance in ourselves and what we think and what we feel, and also with other people. Sure. What about your new computer, your new tablet? And that's the thing, is that we all.
You have to sign into Google to use it.
Good luck to everybody. That's some of the things that you have different devices, different people using different devices, and that's one of the things that you feel like, oh my God, you just get overwhelmed with technology. A lot of people that are haven't grown up with technology and that are kind of feel lost now, And I've spent 3 years going to school, and I took the summer off to spend with my grandkids and that, and made a move, and it's just been like, I mean, the last 4 months have just been like overwhelming in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? As I see behaviors that I haven't seen in 5 years, and a lot of new behaviors that are coming up that are just, You know, a lot of times I certainly can imagine how Jesus felt when he took on the sins of the world. Um, just, I mean, I guess maybe I can't imagine that. You know, it's so many things that happen in life, and people, they experience so many things. And a lot of times, you know, um, a lot of times I think we all need a savior from time to time. You know, we need someone to step in to help us when things get bad. And it's not only that's physically, you know, there's always, we all have room to grow. And I know one thing, when you become a Christian, when you become saved, um, that to me, what that means is that we say, look, you know, the old me that was uh, hurting myself or hurting other people or whatever, that old me, I didn't like that person. I don't want that person around me. I want that person gone. I want that person dead, buried, and gone. And as a Christian, you know, the Bible tells us that we pick up our cross daily. You know, a lot of times we're fighting against old patterns, old behaviors, old things that hurt us or hurt other people. And that's what being a Christian means to me, is that we're always fighting against something. We're fighting the good fight. And that good fight is what? Doing right, trying to do what's right and good. You know, does that mean we always do it? Well, certainly not. You know, we're all looking for something better. And I think that that's become a complicated thing in the world, because, you know, there's always, um, you know, you always think the grass is always greener on the other side. Well, that's something I see, you know, even kind of moving a little bit outside of a small town, that grass is getting to be less and less, you know, and these green things that help produce this oxygen that we breathe is getting to be less and less. And I see an imbalance in nature and that, you know, a lot of times, you know, you see, like, I've heard like the Amazon jungle being called the lungs of the world, you know, and that's because there's a cycle, there's a season, and for everything. And you look at the wind patterns, and everything has changed. Uh, for those things, I don't have all the answers for those things. We have lots of really smart people in this world, and you know, I think if everybody can work together, and it's not just our work that we do and our actions, but our thoughts too. Unfortunately, you know, in my opinion, that's even a hard thing to do. But I know that we have, you know, every day we pick up our cross daily. We try, and sometimes in life, I think, you know, we're living from prayer to prayer to prayer, and that's just my opinion on it. Other than that, I'm kind of starting to repeat. And I don't want to do that. You know, love is not jealous. It's not puffed up. It's what I love about the Bible. You know, Corinthians, you know, gives us a really good example of what love is and what it's not. I think a lot of times we're all prideful. We all boast. We're all selfish. You know, and the opposite of selfish is selfless. And I think that some things, you know, we just kind of have to balance that. You know, a lot of times we can, um, you know, see our own reflections in the mirror. You know, an image of an image that the Bible talks about. You know, how we think about ourselves, and how others see us sometimes is totally different. And how sometimes we can look in a mirror and look at ourselves physically, but, you know, how we think of ourselves also can be different from what's reality. So, you know, I don't know. It's to me, it's all a balance. You know, but I know when I think of grace, I think of you know, and I use it all the time with my wife and my grandkids, and that is, you know, when your child runs in front of a car, you can, go out there and grab them and spank them up. See, I told you 100,000 times, not to run into traffic or whatever, And I think grace is when you do that and you realize that, in that blink of an eye, that life could have been gone. So, what are we thankful for? What do we pray about? That's up for each person really to decide. And man, I sometimes, you just don't want to think about those things because, life is so fleeting because none of us know what it's going to be. If we can work together, I can certainly see a different world. But if people just tear each other apart, or even their families or other things like that, it's not going to probably end up pretty. It's probably going to end up pretty beat up. But well, I don't know. I'll just leave it there for now, and then hopefully I can make another video sometime soon here. We'll see. All right. Well, I just hope that people can come to know what it means to be a Christian. It's not always easy. It's not always fun, but it can sometimes be easy and it can sometimes be fun. But other than that, hey, love someone, love yourself. That's the thing. We all deal with the past. And in Jesus' name,